Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Omni Unity. Bienvenue, mesdames et messieurs, à mon émission Omni Unity. We have our guest today, Lysa Farmer. Nous avons aujourd'hui notre invitée, Lysa Farmer. Welcome, Lysa. Bienvenue, Lysa, to Omni Unity channel.
Hello, thank you very much for hosting me, and I'm really excited about being in touch with you and your community tonight.
Thank you. Lysa has a very large bio, so instead of me reading it, I'm going to let Lysa introduce herself, and she'll introduce also what the show is all about tonight. So, Lysa, please, can you share with us about and what we'll be talking today with the audience?
I'm really excited to be able to share my wonderful world of high potential tools, and I myself am an American. I've been living in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland since 1976, so for a very, very long time. So I get to watch different countries develop their sound healing movements. And so sound healing and sound therapy is one of my specialty areas that I work in. And I have lots of different other skill sets that I use in my own way to try to help people move into their own consciousness and place of power, empowerment, to move through these wonderfully exciting times that we're going through right now. And I think it's so special that I get to be in touch with you and all of the wonderful souls that are listening to us while we're doing this or are going to watch it afterwards, where we're closing off one decade and opening up the third decade already. So I think that's very, very special. And Crystal has now the last 30 to 40 years taken more place and more room, not just in our consciousness, but also in our tool set of what we can do to support ourselves, to find our inner balance, and to access those places in a much deeper and, to me, much quicker way, because the frequency is so high, so that we can find our own answers, realize this is the frequency that we came here to be and to move forward to. And what's very special for me is that I work with lots of different tools, but my specialty are also the crystal singing instruments. So I have a whole variety of different crystal tools that I'm fortunate to be able to work with and teach people to use, and also to be able to sell. So I get to do all different kinds of energy aspects that way, so that the people can, every one of us can just find what it is we need to move us forward or move us inward.
Well, thank you for that intro, Lysa. Just to let the people know, where are you based right now? Are you based in Europe or are you based in North America?
Well, right now I'm doing a little bit of a travel journey, so to say. My offices are in Munich, and then by Kitzbühel, which is in Austria. And my mother is 95 years old, and she lives in Spokane Valley. So I'm supporting the SoundGalaxies USA. They're based in Seattle now, to also set up the US market. So I'm helping to doing things and facilitating things right now in a couple of different countries. I also work with lots of different Swiss people and Slovenian dealers that are looking to set up and that are doing sound healing. And one of the goals I'm working on right now is to get my sound healing concept, I call it AuraSound, Vibrational Medicine, to also introduce that to the US now.
That's great. So Lysa, how did you came about in finding or have that interest of going to this field of sound healing or sound therapy? Can you share with us how you came about to into your own personal journey to found that wonderful modality that we know today as sound healing or sound therapy?
Well, I think I was really lucky because my mother is a music teacher, a vocal music teacher. So from the time I was small, we were always doing different things with our voices and using instruments, and just so being in like natural sound healing, because all children use instruments to do things for themselves, even though we wouldn't say that we maybe have the competency we just kind of know naturally if I play this tone or do this strumming, or on an auto harp, or I hit one of those wooden frogs or something. You know, that's all things that are supporting me to either open up or to calm down or release anger, to have fun, to be playful and creative. And my mother also learned a system, which I can't say too precisely about, but she also learned from a Hungarian. It was called Kodai. It was also a certain way to facilitate teaching of music to children. So I grew up kind of like in that environment and played the oboe and the cello and clarinet myself in orchestra, and loved it. And so also playing an instrument was important to me. And when I moved to Germany in 1976 as an exchange student, then I didn't have the possibility to carry on with musical instruments. So I did different things with my voice and with singing and just trying stuff out. And then it took quite a while, probably another 25 years, before I started working more spiritually with training people. I have my own certification process to teach people to read the auric fields, and started teaching in Germany, in Austria and Switzerland and northern Italy. It's where the German-speaking countries are, to train people to use their own inner clairvoyancy and clairaudio and clairsentient for their own life, no matter which profession they're in, and not to do channeling of external beings, but to go into their own energy household and to be in touch with the higher self level. So I trained lots and lots of people to do that. And then I started working with my voice again. It came through that all of a sudden I should start doing toning and healing work just using my voice. And I was already interested in the frosted bowls. They just started to really become popular. And so I participated in a seminar to learn how to use a frosted singing bowl with my voice. And that's kind of how it got like heavy duty sound healing starting to come up that way. So a lot of the times I would just use my own physical voice to do things, because you can do all of the intonations that you need to do to take care of yourself, to heal yourself, to rejuvenate yourself. And it's also a special bonus if you can also use crystal tools and lots of the other different wonderful instruments that are available to us now.
That's amazing, because now it's becoming very, I think the understanding of the benefits of using bowls and is on the increase now. And from your experience, what have you seen by using your crystal bowls that you have, as the audience can see behind you? What are the benefits that you've seen by using them throughout the years of practice that you've had with your clients?
Okay.
Can you share some of the examples of the benefits that you've seen by using that?
Well, I think probably with any sound healing module, that you have really super successes and everybody's a little bit more attuned to a different field. But what with the crystal instruments, what I feel and what I've seen with my clients over the last, now since probably 1997, I've been working with the crystal singing bowls. And it facilitates a much faster integration. What I love about, which you can also do with other instruments, but what I really love about the new generation of crystal singing bowls that are out, with the tonality that they have, is you can't play the same tone twice. So what it, to me, helps people do is they get out of the reptilian brain, always trying to repeat to learn. And the crystal singing bowls with the sounds that are made when you play them, you can't repeat it. So it's opening up, it's starting to get us to trust, to use other maybe hemispheres of our brains that are going to teach us and help us to move forward, to move out of fear-based energies and to move us more into our creative, trusting, ancient wisdom, which is modern wisdom these days. So the singing bowls to me help facilitate that we move into this place of things are always changing. I don't need to repeat to be safe. I don't need to repeat to be competent. I can put myself into the full moment and see where that impulse and that impetus is going to propel me to.
That's interesting. And most people would say, well, what's the difference between the some they call singing bowls from Nepal, from Tibet, they're hammered down, versus the crystal bowl, which is a more higher tech manufacturing process that we use now, maybe in Germany. What is the difference between these two different types of bowls that we see on the market right now, and why are you using only the crystal? And what's the benefit of using the crystal, using the traditional Nepal or Tibetan 7 elements of bowl that's on the market right now? Can you elaborate this?
So I have my own theory about that, so to say, or my own understanding of one of the major differences. Is number one, with the metal bowls, metal is fluid, and so to make it form into something, you have to heat it, flush it, or whatever, so that it makes the shape and it stays the shape. And to me, and this is just me, it doesn't have to be, it's probably not scientifically proven, and maybe other people will have different ideas about it, so everybody needs to discern for themselves. But in that moment, the nature force, the nature spirit that's metal stops at its development. So you can form it into making it have a tone, you can form it into being aligned with the planetary frequency, but then the development stops there. And if you made the bowl in 1980 or 1840, then that's when the being was online the last time, so to say. So that's where its knowledge is. And the way the crystal bowls are produced and the material used, then the crystal still, even through the manufacturing process, because I see how my bowls sometimes they change the colors, and if you have like normal mineral stones, sometimes all of a sudden they start getting their rainbows inside, and even though if they've been taken out of the earth and are standing in your house someplace, they keep on in their development. So they're in touch, they're online. I love the computer language these days. It makes things easier to explain. So to me, the element SeO2 or crystal it stays online. So it's representing our skeletal system. We have the being able to put things back onto a day-to-day basis of like what's going on in the planet, which information is coming through, and the crystal beings, even in the new form as the bowl, are still live and functioning to bring us this information, to transform it for us so that we can process it in a different way. So that's, to me, one of my feelings, is that my bowls live in a different way. If I want to bring metal up to line 2019, I'd have to melt it down, reform it, and then it would have the consciousness of 219.
So that's
my little theory.
Well, that's a very interesting, because most people, I think, have never heard that understanding about the difference between the metal and the crystal. Basically, it seems that the crystal kingdom tend to be slightly, maybe, how should you say it, more evolved than the metal kingdom. Would you say that as a way of very simplifying things for people to understand? Or is the process of manufacturing that's entering into account that you just explained to us right now?
It could be both. I mean, metal has its validity and it has its purpose, and it's still depending upon where you are in your development or which things you want to work on. Then metal bowls are very special and very important. But for me, I have a different understanding, and I always say this is my understanding, and it doesn't have to fit everybody's bill there. But also, the earth is moving, we always talk about the evolution of the earth, and she's moving faster on one level. So things are sped up, but we're still aligning bowls to old planetary tones. that were valid a couple hundred years ago, that made sense then, but the earth has gone really dynamic in the last, 50 to 80 years. So to me also, the frequencies they're not the same. To me, it's not maybe the same place. It's a good intention, and it's definitely going to move something with you. But I'm not, for myself and my clients, I'm not convinced that, it's really what's helping us to move forward. How often if I listen to an old tone, which might be beautiful, I'm not saying it's not nice to listen to, but what does it reset in me? What part of my being is it activating? Is it even if it, all sound healing modules make you feel maybe more relaxed or more in tune, but is it bringing me into my highest level of being conscious right now? Does it have the possibility to do that when the element itself has kind of like been stuck installed, and then it's tuned to something where even if you listen to like the tapes of NASA in the meantime, when they go out and do planetary, tapings of things, the planets sound totally different. So is it supporting to sustain something that makes people more comfortable to move forward? Or is it giving them kind of like increasing the old comfort zone? And at the end of the day, it's not helping them to really move forward, to be in a different level of trust and development and creativity and flow. So that's, something that everybody can think and feel about for themselves, because these are just things, these are just like what I've discovered with my clients in the last 30 years of having my business, is that, for example, if somebody really wants to work through the abused inner child, then a lot of times the metal bowls to me can be very supportive there, because they're attuning somebody else to these really old pain levels that keep reoccurring. A lot of inner child work is, it needs to be repetitive in a certain way so that always a new level of trust, bonding can take place. To me, when I work with the crystal instruments, I'm working with the healed inner child. That's already somebody who's already moving forward. And I'm not saying that is like it's not devaluing somebody or where they are with like their inner growth work. It's just a difference of frequency. The crystal is supporting the child who's the adventurer, who's ready to go out and see the world and wants to have a bigger part in changing things. It's found its inner comfort. It's found its inner peace. It's moved out of the victim and the, let's see, what do you call it? Sometimes, even though English should be my first language, I'm in Germany so long, I sometimes have to think of it. So you have the victim and the victimizer. So it's the crystal instruments move you out of those fields, in my opinion, because more things resonate at the same time. You have all different kinds of tonal levels going on, and just the fact that you can't repeat, it opens up a totally different new field. So that's one of the things that's really exciting to me about the crystal instruments, all of them, no matter if it's a bowl or the singing rods or the tuning forks or the lyra, or there's all different kinds of products out there now. And one of the things I teach in my AuraSound vibrational medicine concept is to do conflict management and mediation. You can do meditation with the bowls, but I also do